This is going to be the last time that I actually address this. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, I hope that by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So over the last couple weeks, we have been seeing a lot of negativity floating around Hedera and the Hbar Foundation because of somebody found compensation of the executives and workers at the Hedera Foundation or the Hbar Foundation, and it's been pretty much all over the place for the last couple weeks. And we finally got a response from the Hbar Foundation, and a lot of you have been asking me about my opinion on this, my thoughts on it. Now, I've already given out my thoughts on X. We will reiterate those and talk a little bit more about that. But for the most part, this is the response from the Hbar Foundation regarding the overcompensation of employees. And we have the Hbar Foundation had an active start to 2024, driven by our mission to foster innovation and scale adoption of the Hedera network. These are their achievements and their future goals in this thread. So over the past couple weeks, we've been listening closely to your feedback. Thank you for your patience as we figured out how to best address the themes you've identified. Greater transparency on operations, grant processes, compensation, and performance, increased funding for community builders, confusion regarding whether the foundation is a non-profit. Our goal is to share information that appears to be missing from the community to add clarity and to bridge any gaps. First and foremost, while compensation details remain personal and private, the underlying goal is to always attract, incentivize, and retain top talent. Being market competitive and performance-based helps us stay innovative and achieve our goals as a growth-oriented organization for the benefit of the entire community. We are not primarily motivated by profits, but rather by supporting the continued growth of the Hedera ecosystem. However, we are not a nonprofit and do not operate like a charity. In addition to making grants, we also make investments and support the commercial efforts of our Hedera ecosystem partners, all with the goal of growing and sustaining the Hedera ecosystem. To date, our milestone-based grants program has distributed 326 grants to 260 unique visionary grantees, totaling up to $428 million since 2021. Now, we're going to come back to that and talk a little bit more about that because I do think that there is a significant problem there. With more than 200 projects already live on mainnet, here's a sample: Decentralized Exchange, Sausage Swap, Karate Combat, Earth ID, Davu, Drop, Zenny featuring ZennyPay, SkewX featuring SkewPay, and many more. Looking ahead, we plan to enhance transparency through a mid-year review and provide further updates on our grant program in the coming quarter. In the meantime, we invite you to review our 2022 and 2023 year-end reviews. Our 2023 year-end report showed major gains in DeFi, sustainability, gaming, and more. Both are posted on the blog on our website for more insights into our progress. Now let's talk about this year. In quarter one of 2024, we hit a new DeFi all-time high of $200 million in TVL, averaged 1,052 TPS, completed 8.27 billion transactions, created 765.7K accounts, and generated 1.125 million in network revenue. Now, again, I'm going to come back to that and talk a little bit more about that because it is something important to mention. The Hbar Foundation projects make up at least 81.32% of the network revenue, 76.92% of new accounts, and 99.27% of transaction volume. Based on current projections for 2024, we're striving towards 70 billion plus transactions, 7 million accounts created, and 8 million plus in annual revenue, where the Hedera token service and Hedera smart contract service grow 4 times and will become 20% of network revenue this year. I want you all to succeed this alt season, so I put together a full list of tools that you guys can utilize to track where the largest whales are putting their money in this space that could ultimately net you a ton of ROI. I'm also giving out 30 free crypto gems that are fully researched and even broken down into specific risk categories. Both of these guides are completely free. All you have to do is claim your access right now by utilizing one of the links down in the description below. What are you guys waiting for? Make sure that you guys have access to this, especially for this alt season that is nearing. And then they just continue to mention like all of these partnerships, which again, like, you know, as we look at all of these moves, like, yeah, these are incredible. Like all of these moves are like, nobody's taking anything away from the fact that like the Hbar Foundation has been absolutely killing it. I mean, we've been mentioning that all day long, but The issue that I have is this $428 million that have been like given out, right? And I want to see where all that $428 million went to. Like, obviously, yes, like Karate Combat's great, Sasha Swap's great, some of these other projects are great as well. But like, where's more projects going live? I mean, most of the network growth, like if we're talking about all of this revenue coming in off of the network, which by the way is not much, like this 1.125 million, I'm sorry, but that's just not a lot of money at all for, you know, some of these networks out there that are doing billions of dollars in revenue. We're talking about like monthly. So as we look at like 1.125 million network revenue in one quarter in 3 months, it's not anything to really kind of boast, in my opinion. Like, although, yeah, that's great, it's revenue, it's not much, especially when we're talking about the compensation that is being given out. All right. And then on top of that, the one thing that I really want to mention within this is the fact that when we look at the revenue on the network and then we look at the compensation, it doesn't make sense. And I said this, I said a very simple way of fixing these problems: make all executive compensation public information, be transparent, simple, have compensation reflect yearly Hedera revenue, 3.2 million in 2023. We shouldn't be paying $100,000 plus per month when the yearly revenue is 3.2 million. Because think about that, right? Like, we have a lot of these executives that are earning $100,000 per month. That's insane. Take a compensation cut and provide more funding for the ecosystem. The 100 million HBAR for the DeFi ecosystem is minuscule compared to how much compensation was paid out from 2022 to now. And listen, I'm not saying that these people that work at the HBAR Foundation don't deserve to be paid. They get paid in fiat currency, but then they also get incentivized with HBAR. All HBAR that is given to these executives should 100% be locked and vested for years. That way, it promotes even more growth from them. It allows them to even work harder because guess what? They're vested for, you know, a certain amount of years. But the compensation needs to be cut. I mean, there's no reason why millions of HBAR should be going out, you know, per month to these executives. There's just no, I'm sorry, there's no way that anyone can justify that. All right. I said that I've talked about this problem openly on my channel recently, which I did when we combined this with the original token distribution back in 2021, which was only supposed to be 9 billion. Then by the end of the year, it was already at 18 billion. I do question why the distribution got inflated by over 100% during the bull run, which did kill performance, which it 100% did. Outside of the supply and compensation, let's address enterprise adoption. Enterprise adoption is great, but we really need to start pushing and supporting retail-focused projects for now. Retail is the fuel right now, while we wait for enterprises to actually build and go live. I want to really see more from the HBAR Foundation. This write-up does not provide any substance onto why the compensation is so absurd. I will continue to support, follow, and hold HBAR, but I will always give you my authentic thoughts. Do better, Hedera. And yeah, like as we look at this write-up, it feels as though they're trying to like say like, hey, we deserve to get paid X, Y, and Z because we brought on Mondelez and all of these big players. Like, I don't care what you're doing. All right. When the network growth, when we're talking about the network revenue, and we have both of these reports over here, right? Like when the network revenue is sitting at, and this is in Q4 of 2023, end of 2023, we could see that the network transaction fees grew by 59% to 1.6 million. All right, 1.6 million in one quarter. We're talking about 3 months. Even if we rounded that number up to $2 million, we're talking about $8 million for the year. And we're giving out millions of dollars per year to employees. Why? It doesn't make sense. If anything, compensation for executives and employees should not go over 50% of the network transaction fees. Well, revenue, if you will. And in this case, it does by a long shot. And that's significant. All right. That's why I say, like, as we look at these revenue reports, and by the way, in Q1 of 2024 this year, transaction fees were down by 31% quarter over quarter to 1.1 million. So we're talking about roughly almost like $4 million. And then when you look at the compensation, it's almost $1 million for these for some of these executives. Like, that's insane. Shane himself was getting $140,000 monthly. So if you think about that, that's almost one quarter, because in Q4 of 2023, there was 1.6 million coming in for the network revenue. Why is 1/4 of the revenue being paid out almost to an executive? It makes no sense to me. I could understand, if the network was bringing in like $16 million or, a massive amount of money, but we're talking about $1.6 million in 1/4, and now it's 1.1 million. So that's crazy to me. Now, I'm not saying that these people don't deserve to get paid. They do, but they're getting paid fiat and then also HBAR on top of it. Like, we're talking about their bonuses. The HBAR is just a bonus. We're talking about almost well over $1.4 million in HBAR as a bonus. That's insane. There's no justifying that. I don't care how long you've been supporting HBAR. I don't care how much you're bullish on HBAR. There's no way that we're going to sit here and say, hey, yeah, it's justifiable that, he's getting paid well over $1.4 million in HBAR on top of his fiat currency payments. That's just insane to me. And by the way, talking about compensation and the pay being transparent, yeah, it doesn't have to be transparent, but I mean, come on, when something is like, when the compensation is so ridiculous, we deserve some answers on this. And I do think that I speak for everyone when I say, like, yeah, I think that the compensation definitely needs to be cut. Take a pay cut and put it back into the ecosystem, because later on, yeah, you could 100% reward yourself. But right now, the network is barely being utilized by all of these enterprises. One enterprise is like the main driver of network adoption or network use. And I want to stress the fact that, like, retail adoption, retail use of the network promotes even more enterprise grade adoption. Retail is the fuel right now. Enterprises are still on the sidelines. There's still a lot of mandates around these enterprises utilizing these technologies. Regulations are still a big obstacle. So as we wait for that, we can't sit around waiting for enterprise adoption to grow. No, we still need retail. Retail is the main driver right now. Now, I will say big shout to King Crypto. He did quote this, and he said, you need targets-based sensible bonuses on metrics that can be verified, such as an increase in unsubsidized revenue, TPS, TVL, etc., external audits, full transparency on the audit findings, achieve targets. Projects with grants need to contribute at some point without grants. Yes, that's the number one thing that I wanted to get back to, right? Is that $428 million in grants given out since 2021. A lot of this is useless, if I'm being completely honest with you, because a lot of those projects that were getting the grants, they were getting the grants and running away from Hedera. They were going over to, Ethereum, Polygon. Like, we saw it firsthand. A lot of them moved over to Solana. So as we talk about a lot of these grants, like, how much of that $428 million actually stayed on Hedera? But then outside of this, right, we know that there is a very significant amount coming to the network. For an example, up here, they mentioned it, right? 4.86 billion to be allocated, 535 million at Q1 end. We know that over 600 million of this is also going to be paid back to SAFT investors. And who knows where the other amount of money will go in terms of this allocation. because a lot of the grants so far have been big failures. Now, I'm not saying that Hedera is going to fail or I hate HBAR or anything like that from this. No, I'm just speaking my mind on this. I do think that there's a lot of problems around this setup. I mean, listen, it's a foundation. I get it. It's not going to be non-profit. They've been putting in a ton of work. They deserve to get paid, but the compensation is so gross compared to, what the actual network revenue is. And I think that anyone with a sensible mind will say the same exact thing. Now, a lot of people have responded back to this and even said a few things. For example, like I said, King Crypto did even mention, fully agree, it's absurd at this point. We need full external yearly audits and transparency on findings. Performance bonuses should be based on metrics that matter. Yes, this is the thing, right? You can't just be getting performance bonuses because you showed up. No. And like I said, they have been putting in a ton of work, but a lot of the names that they've been bringing on, a lot of the grants that they've been giving out, a lot of them just completely disappeared. Where's the enterprise grade adoption? Where's all the GCs building out solid projects? And there is some GCs that have built solid projects. I'm not saying that they haven't, but a lot of the GCs are just sitting on the board. So we definitely need projects that are going to promote revenue, promote growth on the network. And I just think that Hedera could do better right now. I definitely think that the foundation needs to rethink this. The compensation definitely is ridiculous. The best part about this is that I'm not paid or anything by Hedera or HBAR, so I can speak my mind openly. And I just think that as a long-term HBAR supporter, I've supported HBAR since day one. I will continue to. I just think that they need to do better when it comes to this. And I think that they will. I think that a lot of this is definitely noise. I think that it's a big distraction away from the fact that, yes, there's a ton of adoption. There's a ton of growth happening around Hedera. But I definitely think that retail needs to be the focus right now. Enterprises, they will come when it's time. I think that right now there's a lot of obstacles in their way. So I think retail should 100% be the focus right now. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on for more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.